Hawaii's island of Kauai is many things to many people. For some, it is a place of unimaginable beauty, a haven for relaxation, healing, and great adventure.
The word aloha, in the word mahalo, in the word kuleana. In all of our Hawaiian words, there is an undertone, a deeper meaning of respect. You have respect for your neighbor, respect for the aina, malama aina, love the land, you love the land loves you. You feed the land feeds you.
For others, its remoteness in the middle of the Pacific Ocean offers advantages not found in many other places. This haven for tourism is also a hotbed for alternative energy development, high-tech missile defense, agrochemical biotech, and genetic research. Why is this such a prime location for military research?
Well, it's isolated for one thing. It's also the most remote geographical archipelago on Earth. So therefore, it's perfect for doing long-range Star Wars, missile defense type stuff.
There's a lot of research that's being done right here on this island that most people aren't aware about. Even the people who live here, especially, tourists don't know anything. To them, it's a beautiful, idyllic, tropical island, and they can go get a luau and maybe learn a couple of steps of the hula. But we have a secret military base doing underwater research with the submarine base out here. There may or may not be nuclear weapons. We have GMOs here.
What's happened is a lot of seed companies like Monsanto and Syngenta, Pioneer, they've all come here because you can get 2 crops a year here. So it's become kind of a hotbed for GMO development. A lot of people have concerns about it here on the island.
Is it ethical for a corporation to patent a seed, in essence, to patent life?
That's a very easy answer. It's just a flat-out no, and we are completely in shock that the courts are supporting them in this process.
The fact that life has been patented by the courts has given free rein to this business. And this business is the chemistry business. It's the chemical poison production business.
GMO stands for genetically modified organism, and how that is different from traditional breeding is that with the GMO, it's a laboratory process that crosses unrelated species. So things that would never happen in nature, chemical companies are forcing together DNA in the laboratory. It's the crossing of plant to plant, plant to animal, even plant to human.
The issues that we're discussing affect the island of Earth. This is worldwide. This island happens to be kind of the focus of it because there's so much research and development going on here, but these are issues that are worldwide.
While many people come to this 550 square mile island for its spiritual offerings of tranquility and rejuvenation, there's a Kauai most tourists don't get to see. I'm Kit Farrell, reporting from the island of Kauai about a group dedicated to open sourcing some of the most controversial research to date. So, the definition of open source science, can anybody speak to that for the layman? What is open source science?
Well, it's transparency in scientific knowledge, making it available to as many people as possible, and not restricting the dissemination and use of scientific knowledge.
In fact, open sourcing, it's the historical model. If you look at the 18th century scientists that brought chemistry, early medicine, these were something that were shared freely. There was no patent issues at this point. This is what built the knowledge that our current science is built on today.
The main thing is for us, for this purposes of this particular biological research, is to get it out in the open where average people can have a better shot at it as opposed to being totally buried away in think tanks.
It's generations and generations of generations. My grandfather had come here, was for work the lands. If not was for the plantations and stuff like that, I probably know would be here. You know?
I'm here with Richard Ruiz and his horse, Trigger. Richard, I'd love to know a little bit about how your livelihood has been affected by Syngenta, Pioneer, some of these larger corn industries coming into this area.
Once upon a time, when this was all cane land, there was pretty much no restrictions. Now, since the corn companies came in, they shut everything down. Nobody is to come in the area. There's thousands and thousands of acres around the area that we'd like to lease, and it's all tied up by the corn.
About how long ago did the change occur?
It's getting more strict and more strict, but it happened about maybe 10 years ago when the plantation actually shut down. They stopped everybody from coming in.
This is giant corporations who have seized the seeds of the world and genetically modified them so that they specifically own those seeds and patent them. And now they're using what they call the terminal gene, and this is, to me, one of the scariest elements of this whole thing. So that the seeds, which have always been, when a farmer grows a crop, he takes the seeds and plants them. Can't do that anymore because the terminal gene, the seeds will not function. The seeds from that plant will not function. You must go and buy their seeds next year in order to have another crop.
In a fishing village, our fishermen would go and they would ask permission. And the way they would ask permission is they would prepare a sacrifice to give to Mano, to give to the shark god, before they would take and ask permission. So they would make a sacrifice into these little rocks out there, and then they would chant, call him in. They would come, they would take their sacrifice, they would take their offering, and then they would give their permission. There would be a sign of permission that, okay, come fish now. My grandmother would go into the ocean with her mu'umu'u. She would chant, and all the fish would jump into her mu'umu'u. And then she'd just go like this, and she'd say, we go now, we have plenty. And you always take only what you need, and if there's any extra, you share, you give to your neighbors. Kulia, stop it. Excuse me.
Unlike the majority of the highly secretive research being conducted on this island, this group is publicly funding the research of a scientist working with humans and sharks. He believes he has found a way to replicate the shark's extraordinary ability to regenerate teeth in humans.
Dr. Croft, people might find it odd that you're using the stem cells of a different species for your research in humans. Do you have anything to say to that?
We use sharks as a source of sustainable and renewable stem cells. Sharks lose teeth, but their teeth grow back, so we can harvest the tooth with the dental pulp inside the tooth, extract the stem cells from that tooth, and it doesn't do any harm to the shark.
When originally approached by Dr. Croft, I was pretty excited to be a part of this research. I mean, things that you normally only read about in Discover magazine or something. It's not often you see shark's teeth in a human, but they're functioning perfectly. Every test that I did on them was 100% normal. It was as if Joe was born with those teeth. It's mind-boggling, the amount of progress that's happened in such a short period of time. I had no idea that the teeth would regenerate so quickly.
Shape-shifting, like many of the American Indians, how they do that. Well, that exists here in Hawaii too. We have many wonderful myths about the shark god and coming to visit some ohana, some family members, and turning into a shark and swimming with sharks. And
Now, is this specifically in terms of the spiritual ancestors, the Aumakua?
Yes,
Do the Aumakua often take shapes of animals?
The Aumakua can take shapes as far as wind, fragrances, rain, seals, whales. They take different forms, and they give you signs. It's called ho'ailona.
Richard, can you tell me anything about what happened when a school had to be shut down because of spraying that was going on?
Yeah, they had this school in Waimea a couple of years back that they said that the smell of the spraying was affecting the children in the classrooms. And they did investigations and it come to find out that was on weed that was creating the smell that was making the kids feel sick.
And what of the risk of contamination from genetically modified crops?
Oh boy, they're overlapping continually.
You know, the animals come down from the mountains and eat their crops, you know, and they're having kids up there in the mountains, so the next generation of their kids are, you know, got chemicals in them.
If you're a human eating something with a GMO that has a human basis, it can cross over through your gut. If it survives the digestion system, it can cross over in your gut.
We're at the point with genetically modified corn that, you know, except for some very pure organic vegans, we're all polluted with this stuff. There are no control studies.
This is a huge Pandora's box. In short term, you may apply this to solve a small problem or to make something desirable happen. Long term, nobody has the wisdom to conduct this thing safely.
Oh, the shark bites with his teeth, dear, and he shows them pearly white.
It's a fallacy that science belongs to these chemical companies. Our university researchers use the scientific method in agricultural research to breed traditional crops, traditionally bred crops, non-GMO crops, and make great discoveries about how they can be adapted to different microclimates, to our microclimates in our environment. So it's a fallacy to say that it's a choice between science and GMO-free Kauai. The science belongs to all of us.
Fancy gloves though, where's McHeath made?
Probably the best open source model is Wikipedia. And you say, where is Wikipedia taking information modeling? Well, that's the whole idea of open source. You don't know where it's going to take it. It'll take it where it takes it.
If stem cell research can make it possible for someone who has been in a wheelchair to be able to stand up and walk to the bathroom, I can't tell you how wonderful that would be. If you could show me a drug or some therapy, even if it had significant risks to it, but if it showed promise, no problem. No problem whatsoever. I would sign up in a heartbeat. And I know lots of people who would.
There's a body who's in line.
I want to know a little bit more about taking care of your teeth. Now,
I don't really have to do much.
Is that so?
They regenerate. I lose them constantly, but there are teeth right behind.
I see that.
And they just keep coming forward. So I mean,
so
sometimes
no
I'm
need
eating
to brush.
Well, I brush.
Okay.
I brush, but flossing is a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very pleased with the results of the research. I think when the benefits are seen, there'll be a huge storm of people keen. It'll probably start off slowly as the research improves and the therapy improves, and then as people see the benefits, they'll take it up in droves, I suspect.
Have you run into some issues in the community? I mean, what kind of a reaction have you received?
Well, they call me Mac the Knife.
Can you be anti-GMO and pro-science? I know that sounds obvious, but you know, I'm sure that there are those out there that say, well, where do you draw the line? I mean, is it just not okay for human consumption? Is it okay to do genetic modification for medical purposes and inquisition? I'm just curious, just throwing that out there. Any response?
That's a great question. Certainly, we are not anti-science. Most of us enjoy science as a hobby, but we also have a passion for eating clean food and for being able to have locally adapted seed. And the problem with this is it's an irresponsible science. It's a technology that they're growing in open air, not in a laboratory.
When I get up to walk, it isn't a matter of strength. It's not that I can't move, it's balance. So for me to walk across the room myself, I could do it, but it would be dangerous. But if I could just, with this finger, hold on to your arm, just for balance, just to get that extra bit of feedback to the brain, that's all I need. So to enhance that, to get those pathways regenerated between my limbs and my brain, that's what I'm looking for.
It's not a question of what are the ethics of doing this. It's what are the ethics of not doing this.
Absolutely, absolutely on.
For as long as there has been scientific exploration, there has been controversy following not far behind. Today, we face an additional conflict between the ownership of science and accessibility for those who can't afford to participate. A growing number of scientists and advocates agree that freedom of scientific inquiry is a vital element of society.
Open source science, bring it on, and like I said, you need human subjects. I've got a very long list of folks for you.
I try not to think of any ethical ramifications. I mean, you could get caught up in those and be frozen in your tracks and end up not doing any good. All I see right now is the potential for good.
And to critics of stem cell research who claim that you're playing God, what message would you have, Warren in particular?
I would say go ahead and play God.
I would like to add that those who would object to the research that's being done along these lines in this area as being playing God really should be required to experience life as Warren does and as so many others do before they make that criticism.
For organizations such as Open Source Science, adopting open source methodology is paramount to human progress. This is Kit Farrell, reporting from the island of Kauai. Thank you for joining me.
E ho mai kaike, e ho mai kaike mai luna mai e. O na mea o na no ea o na mele e. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai kaike e.